Patty Wisdom has been absolutely on fire this season. I want to spend a little bit of time of digging into just what he's brought to the Cubs offense this season. He continues to be really, really well. And I know that's making our friend of the pod, Ian, really, really happy because now we kind of have to eat our words a little bit of kind of giving him a hard time. But look at the slash line. He's batting 320, 370, 760 slug through his first 27 plate appearances, leads the team with 3 home runs, which that's helping Kevin over here because I think he's gotten all of the dingers. All three of his dingers have come off Patty Wise. He has a WRC plus sitting at 191. And what's most impressive, I think, with Pat Wisdom is it's not just the long ball. You're seeing him make really good approach at the plate. He's hitting the ball hard, finding gaps, and it's not just with the long ball, hitting the ball down the line, hitting nice line drives, hitting ball up the middle. I think the shift has maybe helped him a little bit. But man, just his approach at the plate looks confident, and there's something special. And I think we even got a shout out from Cole Wright. Like we had Cole Wright on our podcast. What was it, like 2 months ago? And he talked about like Patty Wise is going to be something different this year when now he has people around him in the order to protect him. And you're seeing that. Like you're seeing that exactly play out. So thanks Cole for shouting us out on the post game live because that was awesome. But he is exactly right. Like you're putting people around him and you're seeing Patrick Wisdom make a huge difference in this lineup. What are you thinking there, Kevin? So far, since you're getting all the dingers from Wisdom, how are you liking it so far?
Oh, it's going great. I think I don't remember if I tweeted it or I just texted it back to you guys on, was it yesterday that he hit number 3 or was it Saturday? Regardless, it was a left-handed pitcher, and I was asking my middle son, Keaton. I said, Keaton, I just got the lineup. Who do I pick today? It's a lefty. And he goes, if it's a lefty, it's Wisdom all day. And I was like, all right, yeah. Like that's Smart what I was thinking anyway. Yeah. And
but I want to say something about that. Like usually lefty, like, cause he struggled versus righties last year, but he has 5 of his 18 hits are against right-handed pitchers so far this year. He batted 191 against righties last year. And this year he's been hitting the righties really, really well. So like, I mean, most cases, like if there's a lefty and Patty Wise is up, like, yeah, pick Patrick Wisdom to hit a home run, but like he's hitting pretty good against righties so far this year. Small sample size, but hitting the ball well.
Yeah, I agree. And just like Cole said on the podcast, he's got some other hitters around him. He's not having to be the slug guy, even though he is a slug guy. He's not in that hole in the lineup where they're expecting him. He can kind of come out and, hit some surprises, swing for the fences and not feel too bad about it because he's got guys on base that more or less they're going to hopefully score in front of him. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Jake, what about you? Like we have Scott here. Dingers are cool and tough. Yeah. And Scott had a great tweet and he asked, what is it? Like, what do we say? Like Dinger, or I can't remember what his other 3 options. And I said,
Wisdong has got to be
Wisdongs.
That's usually how I write it.
Yeah, I like
we're the Dingers.
Yep. I mean, we're the Dingers podcast, but Wisdong, it just like, it sounds great.
It's right there.
I am kind of preparing to eat my words. But again, it's been 7 games, not including tonight's sample as I'm looking at Wisdom stats. There are some encouraging things. His walk rate so far is despite his on-base percentage being super high, his walk rate is very down from his last 2 seasons. Only 3.7. So he's worked, I don't know, how many walks is that? Whatever. It doesn't, I mean, we won't get into the weeds. One walk so far this season. But it does look like he's got a plan at the plate. And I also think that we're seeing Ross put him in situations to succeed.
Definitely.
He's not playing every day. He's not playing against the fireballers. He sat against Hunter Green, the triple digit tosser for the Reds. And then there was another big heavy fastball guy that he sat against too. And those are days you're going to see Madrigal in the lineup. Or they're just going to switch it up. I mean, maybe they put Mastroboni in at third or whatever, or Rios. I like the batted ball profile right now, like looks pretty good. I mean, he's got a 50% home run to fly ball rate, which in layman's terms is half the balls that he hits in the air are going out of the park right now. So he's hit 6 fly balls and 3 of them have gone out. That's not obviously not like that'd be insane. That's not going to stay that way. He has like 0% soft contact, so he's hit everything. This is according to Fangraphs. At least, everything medium to hard percent, which is, I don't think Fangraphs, I think they kind of judge that by eye. I don't think they have like an algorithm. I don't know. It's not the same as Baseball Savant. Yeah, I mean, he's doing what we need him to do right now while we figure out what the long-term solution is at third base. That's not to say that Wisdom can't be a contributor to this team going forward, like, in future years. But I don't think he's a great starting baseman, an excellent starting baseman if he maintains 75% of this production going forward this season. But if he's the starting third baseman, in the next 2-3 seasons, we got some problems. Sorry, Ian. But that's just the truth. You guys know that I'm going to give it to you straight. And I like what I've seen so far. I'm glad that I'm wrong on the preseason predictions. Yeah, I don't know, Jeff, what are you taking from Wisdom's performance so far?
It's kind of I had pretty low expectations for him at the plate this year, to be honest with you. And when he got off to a hot start, it kind of really surprised me in a good way. I mean, you love to see somebody that was struggling last year, like get off to a really hot start and make like decisions hard for managers. Like, is he going to, am I going to play him? Am I going to sit him? Things like that. But I can't remember. It was probably 4 or 5 games ago. I was watching the Cubs live, and they talked to him at his locker, and he's just talked about all the things that he did in the offseason to get better defensively, and then the things that, like when he's struggling at the plate, he switches bats a lot. I don't know if anybody has really noticed how many different bats he has, but he's got one that's like 35.5 inches, but it's only like it's lighter than a shorter bat. He does some weird things.
The knob is thicker.
Yeah,
right? So
he's got So he's kind of come to. He says he can realize when he's struggling, and he knows. Well, maybe I'm just gonna put this bat down. I'm gonna pick up a different bat and swing it for a while. So.
Which was weird. Like
exploded on him today. Did you guys see that?
Well, even yesterday, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, he had one of the bats that didn't have the knob, and it busted in the middle of that bat. And when he switched to a bat with a knob, and I was like, man, in the middle of an at bat, I don't know if I would make that, like that would throw me off. But then he hit a base hit with it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess he can he's used to all of them. But yeah.
And a quick interjection here too, like I kind of wonder, so I think it was probably before, because he was last with the Cardinals in 2018. So this was before, like it happened after he left the Cardinals, but it's worth noting, like this is something that the Cardinals are doing. And like, again, we don't want to give praise to the Cardinals, but they're a well-run organization. They're going to look into everything to make their players better. And their offense is very strong. And one of the things that I heard talked about, I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but the Cardinals are really going into different bats. And I think it was sparked by Goldschmidt and then obviously Arenado. And those guys had incredible seasons, both receiving, Goldschmidt, the MVP, and Arenado receiving MVP votes as well. So, yeah, I mean, I was listening to something and it was like, yeah, depending on the at-bat, maybe I was reading about it. Depending on the at-bat, like they'll use a different bat, depending on the situation. The pitcher that they're facing is the biggest one. And so you kind of started to see it with Wisdom last season. When Bryant was still on the team, he switched to the axe handle bat. So I think this is going to be something that we're going to see a lot more of. And I think it's really interesting. Whatever you can do to give yourself an advantage at the plate, the batters, especially with how dominating the pitching has been, you're going to take it. So yeah, if the bat's the difference maker for Patty, I'm all here for it.